The Big Play Reflog Show is brought to you by ShackNews.com. Shack News is the place to be for all your gaming needs with news, guides, walkthroughs, and reviews. Like this week's featured review of the new game, Pokemon Legends Arceus. Arceus. Sure, let's go with that. Arceus. And remember, you could join in on the conversation and customize your feed using the Shack News Cortex and Shack News Reader. And they do more than just video games over at Shack News So be sure to check out their Shack Pets app to view, upload, and vote on the cutest pet pics. If you're a gamer, Shack News is the site for you. Check them out on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch at the handle @ShackNews and at ShackNews.com.
It's time! Streaming live from Cleveland, Ohio, presenting the undefeated, undisputed heavyweight podcast of the world, the Big Play Reflog Show.
Okay, do you need medical attention?
Yeah.
What is wrong?
I don't know. I know damn now. Attack by Chuck. To the 10. He's still running to the 5. Zip drop back.
It's time! The Big Play Reflog Show.
Alrighty, welcome to the Big Play Reflog Show. I'm your host, Nick Pedone, hanging out alongside the coach, Mr. Chris McNeil. Chris, what's going on?
How you doing, Nick? Happy Hugh Jackson Day. I've got my little figurine, my little Hugh Jackson bobblehead here, or cut out of wood, Hugh Jackson, 131. Annual event here in Cleveland to commemorate him. Hugh going 1-31 with the Cleveland Browns over a 2-year span, 0-16 included in that. So happy Hugh Jackson Day to you, Nick.
Happy Hugh Jackson Day to you. What a memorable time frame.
Awful memorable time.
What a day here that we get to celebrate it here with the
Right.
division AFC North champion Cincinnati Bengals going up against Odell Beckham Jr.'s Rams in the Super Bowl. We'll talk about that, but we're going to kick it off first with Power Rank Monday, talk some of our favorite Winter Olympic sports with that kicking off very soon.
Yeah.
Then we're on to our featured interview with Samantha Profiti of the Action Network. That'll be some fun, man. Talk some sports betting, talk some fantasy football with Samantha. That'll be good. After that, we'll be doing Cavs trivia. Who wants to be a billionaire? Well, hopefully, Chris, we keep this streak alive of giving away Labatt t-shirts. Got to keep it alive. Cavs are on right now, so hopefully we could get a winner tonight. Then we're going to get into some Cleveland headlines presented by Total Sports Enterprises. Cleveland will wrap things up with the best and worst tweets of the week. Without further ado, it's back. Let's get it into Power Rank Monday.
It's time for Power Rank Monday.
Alrighty, Power Rank Monday on the Big Play Reflog Show. The Winter Olympics begin this Friday from Beijing, so we are going to power rank our favorite Winter Olympic events. I just realized I don't have Big Play Dave's ding. So, Chris, we're going to start it off with you. Give me your number 3 favorite Winter Olympic event.
My number 3. Ding. Curling. Isn't it fantastic? It seems like a real drinkers type of sport, you know, like bowling, like golf. Curling's just the equivalent of bowling on ice, right? With big old stones. I think that's a fantastic sport, and something I know it always catches fire every single Olympics. Like there's always these groups that start up and get really into it. And so I'm always excited to watch that. Usually the guys who are doing it too look like, you and I, right? They don't look like quote unquote athletes as much as just guys off their couch looking for something to do. So curling is definitely one of those that I tune in for in the Winter Olympics.
Yeah, definitely a great time. Would you rather be the guy that throws it, or would you rather be a broomer?
A thrower, a thrower. The
A
broomer
thrower?
seems like,
Okay.
yeah, because the broomer seems like he works kind of for the guy. Like, I don't know. I know they
Yeah,
do most of
the
the work,
pressure is probably on the broom guy, right? Like, that's where the
right?
pressure really sits.
Yeah, it seems like there's a lot of pressure, but I don't know. Ultimately, it almost feels like they would give a lot of credit to the guy who actually threw it at the end of the day.
Right,
Like,
right. You're
hey, that was
the
a
guy.
heck of a shot. And it's like, well, no, it was really the broom guy. And then the broom guy, doesn't get all the credit. It's kind of stolen valor by the guy throwing the rock. So I think I want to be the thrower, I think.
All right, Chris, give me to your number 2.
My number 2,
Ding.
downhill skiing. I love the downhill event. That's always fun. Always high speed. It's got that part of it that's kind of like NASCAR too, where you're kind of looking for the accidents and stuff, and you don't want
Yeah.
to see anybody get hurt. But at the same time, man, they're flying down there, and it's always interested to see them. When they hit the wall and stuff. And I don't know. It's just insane. Being a skier myself, of not nearly anywhere in the that talent level, but going downhill like that is scary, man. And to see these people risk life and limb for a medal is just incredible to me. So always exuberating to see them do that. And we'll talk a little bit with Samantha. She happens to be now a certified trainer or certified ski patrol, certified whatever, out there at Breckenridge.
A
At
lifeguard of snow people.
the lifeguard is snow people. That's exactly right. So that's fantastic. And we'll talk to her more about skiing as ski season is upon us. And with more snow yet to dump on this Thursday and Friday, I'm sure like Holiday
Seems to
Valley and
be.
yeah, all our places down here, we got snow trails and, basically the cornfields of Columbus where we ski in. So we'll be getting some more snow. So we'll get you prepped for the skiing. My number 1.
Ding.
Wearing the jersey. Labatt is a sponsor. Nick, I got to go hockey. Go USA. I tell you, as a
Love
kid,
it.
I always loved. I didn't care much for hockey for the most part. We didn't really have the Blue Jackets until like 96. So there wasn't much out there before they had like the Lumberjacks up north. But I always got into USA hockey. It seems like everybody rallies around that team. So that's my number 1 still, Nick. I'll be looking for those hockey players out there, and hopefully the USA can make us proud.
Yeah, that would be a lot of fun. I saw odds today. The USA is plus 1,400 to win, quote unquote, the Winter Olympics. So to get like the most medals. I think Norway was like pretty heavy favorite over there, but
Okay.
USA pretty solid underdogs at plus 1,400 there.
Wow. Okay. Got to show up and show out.
got to pull the upset, the old Americans.
There's no
in the
Katie Naget walking through that door for the Winter Olympics.
Yeah, right. She can't do it for us. No
That's
Cleveland,
right.
this is for you. No viral big play refog moments. What are
I-
we doing over here in Northeast Ohio? We got ski slopes. We got snowboarding.
People
Come
training
on.
at Boston Mills for the Olympics. That's where that happens, right?
Yeah, ride the ski lift up, buckle in that helmet, and ride right on down. All righty, my number
What's your
3.
list?
My number 3, I'm going with
Ding.
luge.
The
You ever
luge.
see that where they
Oh,
like
yeah.
sit
Oh,
down?
that's insane. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like I don't really even understand how they judge that, but to me it's like a water park in the snow. You know what
Yeah,
I
it's
mean?
pretty
Like
much
you're
what
going
it is,
down
yeah.
really fast.
Yeah.
It's a good time. It's something that you could watch for like 10 minutes and then you're like, all right, how much more could I watch this?
And it's
Um,
insanely precise too. I
Yeah,
mean, it's
it
like,
is.
oh, he really wrecked. I mean, going around that last, oh boy, he was way on the outside. It's like that's
Yep.
going to cost him a tenth of a second. That's killer right there. He'll never make that up. It's like, wow,
Yep.
really? That's insane. All of
And that
those.
seems super dangerous too.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
that can't be safe.
I thought, wasn't that the event where the one person died? Unfortunately, I think last time, like flew off the
Oh,
track.
really?
I think that really happened. Yeah, I think it was
Oh,
that. It may have been
geez.
like the skeleton or something. But one of those events, somebody did unfortunately die. I think at Sochi Olympics, as I recall.
Jeez.
I could be a little bit off, but
Yeah,
yeah, I mean,
like most
you're
of these
literally
things are dangerous. Like most
yeah,
other than curling, like we're talking about like some real life or death stuff here. Like not to poke fun at the Summer Olympics, but God, you got people taking home golds for table tennis, and meanwhile these people are turning themselves into human torpedoes, sledding down ice like on their bare
it's so
rear
true.
end. It's kind of crazy. All right, my number two, ding. I went with curling. I think I would want to be a broom guy. I think that'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah,
No
you'd
real
be the broom guy. Yeah, I could see you as a
Yeah,
broom guy.
no real rhyme or reason behind it. I just think that I've never once broomed ice. I've shoveled snow. I've done the
Is that a
thing where you try
bucket
to
list
get
thing for
under
you,
the
Nick?
ice but I've never once like taken a broom to ice. So I don't really understand how that would work. So yeah, maybe curling is a bucket list thing for me. Maybe we'll have to make that
We'll have to
happen
do
with
it.
Labatt. Yeah, with get
Seems
some
like it'd be
Labats
natural.
going.
Seemed like be a
Yeah.
natural. They know the rink and everything else. I mean, Labatt's
Right.
gotta, like, sponsor a bunch of leagues already, so we'll just jump in with a big play team.
Yeah, big play curling team.
Big
Get
play
get
curling.
like what do you wear? Do they wear jerseys? Do you wear jackets?
I don't care. I'd wear a jersey. I mean, wouldn't you? I think it'd be natural. You'd have to wear, like, a
Yeah,
hockey jersey, right?
right,
Or
because you would
sweater.
wanna
A
be more
sweater is what they would
free.
call it. Yeah.
Right, yeah, because you wouldn't wanna wear, like, a puffy North Face winter jacket and be out there trying to, like, broom the snow.
No. No.
Yeah, you would
Although
need to be more
our team,
aerodynamic.
yeah, we would have to get, like, those sleek, like, skeleton type of suits that just, like, show everything, zip them all the way up. All these other teams are out there in parkas and stuff, and we got these sleek jerseys or these
Hey,
sleek
yeah,
bodysuits.
it's our intimidation factor, Chris. That's how we
Right.
win. That's how we
Yeah,
go
that's
into
big.
the curling world championships and win. All right, my number 1, ding. I feel like this is big for my generation, especially just with, like, kind of being a late 90s kid, like a late 90s kid, snowboarding.
Oh,
I
yeah.
was always big into skateboarding. I always kind of like at least kept a finger pulse on the X Games and things of that sort. So like the snowboarding is just that in the snow. So like when you had Shaun White a couple years
Yeah.
back and like the big fun that was, especially like here for America and the United States, like man, that was entertaining to watch that run. So I'm gonna go with snowboarding. That's just like
The
always been
flying
one of my
tomato,
favorite.
Shaun White. Have you seen I
Yep.
saw an interview with him just this week, and I couldn't hear what he was saying, but, like, I remember when he was, like, coming up and he had the
Yep.
crazy hair and he was just, like, completely just exactly what you would think of when you think of a snowboarder, which is basically, a skateboarder with snow,
Yep.
and, that's the way he dressed, he acted. Now he looks like a college professor or something.
Yeah.
It's
It's crazy. He's grown up, Chris,
I'm
but
getting old, man. I'm getting old.
snowboarding, yeah, it's a lot of fun. That's something I've done before. I would love to get back
It's
into
hard.
it.
Snowboarding's freaking hard.
Yeah, it is. But I always said if you could ride a skateboard, you could ride a snowboard. And I was always able to ride a
Uh,
skateboard, so I was able to snowboard because
you
it's
can
just
dodge a
balance.
wrench, you can dodge a ball.
Exactly. All right, good stuff there. Power Rank Monday, always a blast. We'll keep talking snow sports, but we also
Yeah.
have to talk some football here. On this Monday evening, we're getting into our featured interview with Samantha NFL. Here we go. All righty, on the Labatt Blue Hotline, joining us out there from the snowy Colorado, Samantha Profiti joins the Big Play Reflog Show from the Action Network. Samantha, what is going on? Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. I sound a little raspy because I've been a little under the weather, but just been enjoying everything that Colorado has to offer here.
Playing hurt and she came in for us. We appreciate this, Samantha.
Yeah, I don't think it's COVID or anything, but I got tested just in case.
We required that for the show, of course.
Obviously, of
Make
course,
sure,
yeah.
that's right. Safety first here on the Big Play Reflog Show.
Yeah, so
Wouldn't want to send it over the airwaves to you and your
Exactly.
esteemed listeners.
yeah, as long as you have a pending test, that's good with the Big Play Reflog Show. Well, I know it's early here, but have you been able to break down this Super Bowl matchup yet? Obviously, we just saw, these games end here in Ohio. Samantha, we'll give you full disclosure, at least myself, and I think speaking for Chris as well, it's a little conflicting. We're up here in Cleveland. You got the Cincinnati Bengals going to the Super Bowl, and we kind of treated them like little brother for the last couple of years. And then you got on the other side, the Los Angeles Rams, who have kind of turned to be a little bit of an unlikable team for us in Northeast Ohio with Odell Beckham Jr. joining them. Have you been able to break down this Super Bowl matchup yet? Where are you at with it early on?
Yeah, it's so interesting. I mean, I literally saw a tweet today that was like, if you were rebuilding a franchise or building it from the ground up, would you rather have Patrick Mahomes or Joe Burrow? So that is how much hype we're talking about at this point. I mean, people were, and I saw a lot of people responding Joe Burrow because the dude has ice in his veins and he's like the new Tom Brady or something like that. I mean, it's been obviously really, really crazy to watch their run. I don't think anyone ever really predicted anything like this. And full disclosure, my boyfriend is a huge Browns fan himself. And the only thing that I've heard all about this is just like, oh, well, we swept them in the series this year. So
That's
like,
right.
it doesn't, nothing matters. By the transitive property, you guys should be in the Super Bowl.
And thank you for recognizing that. I completely agree with your boyfriend on that one.
Yeah, hilarious. But yeah, I mean, obviously, and then with like the storyline with Odell Beckham, as you mentioned, totally crazy that he had no touchdowns for you guys earlier this year, and then absolutely monster season to finish everything
Thank you
out.
for
So
noticing, Samantha. I really appreciate that. Right off the bat, going right
Yeah,
through.
you're the first person that has brought it up to us, really, too.
I understand.
breaking news on the Big Play Reflog show, Chris.
Right.
It feels probably more like a fit issue, not and just maybe chemistry or whatever scheme, or maybe it just didn't work out with Stefanski or whatnot. But yeah, I mean, I wish him the best of luck, of course. It seems like he had a touching moment with Deebo Samuel, who's one of my favorite players. So I don't think I had probably some negative opinions about him early on in his career, but he has, I think, come around a little bit.
Now, who's your team? What team do you like?
That is a good question. So
like everybody, you just hope every team has fun.
I have a huge bias against the Patriots, just because I grew up in New England, but I grew up as a Yankees fan, so I like hated all Boston sports and all that, so that was like an anti-allegiance. But for fantasy, which is what I do, it kind of works out because there's a good reason to have a lot of like anti-Patriots bias for fantasy purposes. But the team that I actually end up rooting for is the Carolina Panthers. I lived in South Carolina for a while. Okay. I know. I probably could have given you 32 guesses, and like it would have taken you all 32 to get there.
I would have guessed that right before the Jaguars, maybe. But that would have been about it. That's wow. That's pretty wild.
They don't have the biggest fan base, I will say, or the oldest or most ardent fan base or anything like that. But it is, I mean, it's a fun city and fun team, and I miss living in the South. So that's where I started following football. And because I didn't have really a team, I was like, oh yeah, it totally makes sense to root for the Panthers. I'm sure lots of people in South Carolina care about the Panthers, but really it's just like Gamecocks and Clemson.
You didn't have a team, but you had a lot of people who agreed with you because you're just like, I hate Boston. I hate the Patriots. Everybody's like, yeah. So any bar you go to, everybody's, yeah, she's great.
Yeah, I mean, I'm surrounded by a lot of people
Boston,
that, of course, like a lot of my friends growing up and everything, and that I'm still friends with, are huge Patriots fans, insufferable ones that will like get in pick fights with people at bars and stuff like that. So I'm just like, I don't know you.
That's like every Boston fan, I think, though.
Right.
Every, at least in my mind, that's just the way Boston fans are. They're all entitled at this point. Back in my day, the Patriots sucked, by the way. They had that one run in 1985 with like Steve Grogan as their quarterback where they got smoked by the Bears. And outside of that, they were not very good. In fact, the Browns, with Bill Belichick on our sideline, beat them in the playoffs back in the day. But I
am totally shocked with I mean, happy for them obviously, and Mac Jones and everything, but I am shocked with how well they did this year and how good Mac Jones ended up looking. So I'm happy to be wrong about that one.
So let's stay on kind of younger quarterbacks. Our young Baker Mayfield in Cleveland. From a national perspective, I mean, you have a chance to talk to a lot of people around the country and kind of do this from a bigger perspective. We get so enamored with our own, things that are going on in Cleveland that a lot of times we don't step back. What is your thoughts about Baker Mayfield, what he's done in Cleveland, what he's doing in Cleveland, whether he's really got the potential to take us to the next level or whether he's just not the guy?
I mean, I think that there's going to be a lot of recency bias, obviously, coming off of a year where, there were almost as many interceptions as touchdowns. And like, we really have to give, credit where credit's due, and also kind of put it all into full perspective, of course, because he was just so banged up all year. And it really showed how tough he was, I think, overall, just playing through all of that. And then I know everyone had their share of injuries and COVID stuff this year, but it does seem like the Browns were hit a little bit harder than some other teams in terms of like the COVID outbreaks and just coming at like awful times, and then some bad officiating and all of that kind of stuff can obviously make him look pretty bad and make a season, turn a season around pretty fast. So, I mean, I think he's been not as impressive as I think a lot of people would have hoped. I think he's kind of in that, like, at least in my opinion, maybe in that like Kirk Cousins-ish range, where he certainly belongs in the NFL and certainly belongs to be, like, deserves to be a starter. But I wouldn't necessarily say he's going to win you a championship at this point.
How about the rest of the AFC North now, especially as we start talking about fantasy? It looks like we're kind of loaded at the running back position. Obviously, everybody here in Cleveland knows what Nick Chubb is capable of, but late in the fantasy season, Najee Harris started to coming along, and then Joe Mixon, who I don't like the Bengals that much, but I absolutely loved having that guy on my fantasy team this year. So it's definitely also emerged as a very interesting division for running backs and for fantasy. How do you see that shaping out for people for, potentially their 2022, 2023 fantasy football drafts?
Yeah, it is kind of crazy. I guess I haven't thought of it necessarily division by division, but it does feel like the AFC North is so stacked in terms of running back. To your point about Joe Mixon, he is a guy that I was just such an apologist about him for so many years. I was always like, it's his season. The O-line needs to be fixed. It's not his fault that he didn't have a good year. But obviously this was the year, and they just went super run heavy. And to your point about like the division, I mean, all four teams are pretty, well, I guess not the Steelers, they're not really run heavy, but I would say that because that they don't use a committee like a lot of other teams, it ends up being that they have a really strong running back there. Najee Harris looks absolutely phenomenal. The Ravens didn't have like any real standouts, but they also had like 3 of their running backs go out in training camp. So that was very unfortunate for them, obviously. But yeah, they are also obviously known as a pretty run heavy team themselves.
And then staying in the betting world, obviously with the Super Bowl coming up and having it so close, are there any Super Bowl prop bets that you typically like to play? You see some of the outrageous ones start to come out, the Gatorade color, the national anthem time. Are there anything that you or anybody that you work with over at the Action Network kind of keep your eye on as we get a little bit closer to the Super Bowl?
I actually like wrote a whole thing for The Athletic about these like really silly ones. They're not ones that I would necessarily wager my American dollars on, but I understand the appeal, especially if like someone is more of a casual fan, and that just like is a reason to stay engaged. So yeah, I mean, I think it's funny sometimes. Like I guess with the Gatorade one, sometimes it correlates with the team's colors. So you kind of have to like pick the team and then go from there. And I mean, like the other ones are just they're just pretty silly. I guess like people like to say tails always fails or something like that. But yeah, I mean the sillier ones I'm not really super into. I feel like Byron Pringle and Travis Kelce props I've been like really big on going into this. I had been going into the championship round and stuff. So for these, I mean, I had Matt Stafford to throw an interception in this one, and that hit. That one's been a good one just because he had 2 games where he was like interception free, but then he also had a 4-game stretch with like 8 interceptions. So he's definitely turnover prone, and certainly we saw the Bengals defense show up. So that is one that I feel like just off the cuff, I feel like could be a good one. And Joe Mixon, all-purpose yards feels like a good one too. We just talked about Joe Mixon. And yeah, Jamar Chase, I had that one in the divisional round, and that did hit. And then last week, like, of course, because he had 266 receiving yards the last time these two teams met. And of course, he's kind of a dud this time. But obviously, Joe Burrow and Chase have such an amazing chemistry. So those are some that I would certainly look at.
Chris, isn't that crazy that you could bet on all this stuff, like literal single players? Man, I can't wait. We're not there yet. We're getting there, but man, that's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, because it hasn't passed. Well, it's passed now in Ohio for all this stuff, but it's really not going to get set in stone until the end of the year. Essentially,
oh, interesting.
Do all this sports gambling. So
that's so interesting. Yeah, we are so I would say spoiled in Colorado with the number, like just like
you can do anything you want
awesome.
in Colorado.
The skiing, the awesome craft beer, the other legal things, like just a plethora of legal betting. So yeah, we are certainly spoiled, and it is really, really cool, especially as a person that comes from the fantasy world, and there's just a natural crossover with the player props, and they're so much fun. And they'll just give me a reason to watch like the Dolphins or something like that, like a team that I wouldn't necessarily care about. I'm sorry, Dolphins fans or something, but yeah, like you understand that you're watching
just a snooty Carolina Panthers fan.
Yeah, a snooty Carolina Panthers fan. We have such a wonderful legacy, but yes. But of course, like,
I now know one of you.
It is really cool though, and I think it's certainly going to keep a younger audience really engaged in the sport, and that is something that I think other sports have really struggled and really honestly failed to do in some aspects. So football is really like the perfect sport for fantasy and the perfect sport for prop bets.
So you mentioned skiing out there in Colorado. I'm interested in your skiing career because I'm a skier. I'm not great, but I ski. I ski Ohio though. You know, I mean,
Holiday Valley is that
Holiday Valley up in Ellisonville. In fact,
Okay.
I am going there in a few weeks. We do that
Sweet.
every single year over President's Day weekend. We rent a place. The whole family goes up, and so I ski the wall. You know, I go down it once, and then I'm like, yeah, that's it for the year, and I feel real good about that. And I'm trying to get the kids on there and get them to, So Holiday Valley is fantastic. In Ohio, it's a little bit more cornfield-ish, but we do have several places. Talk about your career. I mean, out from Boston to what brings you out to, I believe, Breckenridge now, and you're a ski instructor. I saw your pin now. You're all official. So tell us a little bit about your career.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I actually grew up in Rhode Island, but very close to Boston. And our local mountain is called Wachusett Mountain. It's a very small mountain, but apparently it is gigantic compared to the mountains that you guys have. Just because my boyfriend and I were like arguing one time, and I was like, I grew up on the smallest mountain. He's like, hold my beer, and showed me the vertical drop of some of the places that he grew up on. But yeah,
Boston Mills, if he was in Northern Ohio, Boston Mills, like he's probably showing you like Tiger. Yep. Like that was it. Yeah. Oh yeah. That was that's a double black up there, baby. Yeah.
Well, I mean, like honestly, some of these smaller resorts and areas like breed the best skiers and best snowboarders because you have to deal with different conditions, and also a lot of these places that don't have a ton of snow, they end up having dope parks, and that is how like a lot of people just really like get their skills. So yeah, I mean, I started snowboarding when I was 7. I started snowboarding, never skied. And then I just learned how to ski in March of last year. And now I'm an equal snowboarder and skier. Probably says more about like my snowboarding ability.
And now you're an equal, and you've been, wow, that's incredible.
I mean, it's just easy to pick up once you have.
Athlete to be able to do that. I mean, Good Lord. I could not just like pick up snowboarding and be good within a year. There's no way. I've done snowboarding a few times and that just beats me up. I could only imagine going from snowboarding to skiing and just being like, yeah, I started in March. Not, either way, I'm just as good. No
I mean,
way.
there's
That's
there's a lot of transfer. There's things like reading
Yeah.
snow, being comfortable with speed, knowing your edges, all those things. And it does lend itself to some of like the athletic abilities that I have now. Like I am like pretty good at like balance type sports. I was a gymnast growing up.
Okay.
I am like bottom 0.01 percentile in like anything hand-eye or foot-eye coordination related. Like if you ask me to throw a tennis ball from like the baseline over the net, like I don't know that I could. So, and I say that as a tennis player, but a very bad tennis player. So it definitely lends itself to some of my strengths, which is why I just love it. And I do it every single day now, snowboarding or skiing. And it is just so much fun. And yeah, as you mentioned, I am a snowboard and ski instructor at Breckenridge. So hit me up if you guys are ever here.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Big play group trip, Chris.
There you go. The big play trip.
Curling. We were
first,
talking about
and then
doing
we got
curling
into it.
before. Now we're getting into snowboarding and skiing.
Please just get like matching onesies, like all the people from the Midwestern states wear when they come here.
You just make fun of people who come out from the. I mean, obviously they bring money, so that's a good thing. But they come out, they ski their one time a year out there. They expect to be real good. They buy their coats and everything just for that 1 week. So they got stuff with it. It's like Bengals fans out here. They got the hats on and stuff, right? And they're coming out there, and you're like, okay, but you put up with them because they bring money and everything else. But at the end of the day, you got to have some good laughs over some of these folks that come out there, right?
Okay, like there's certainly no like stigma on people from Ohio, but I will say there is a stigma on people from places like Texas, for instance,
Okay,
or Florida, or just places that have not experienced altitude or cold. And we've got both of it. It's 10,000 feet above sea level at the base of Breckenridge, and we go all the way up to 13,000 feet, and they call it Breckenfridge, so it's quite cold here. And I mean there are people that are just that come that are very unprepared but also cocky at the same time.
Right.
It's like that weird combination.
Yeah.
Right. So they're skiing in jeans, but and like these really goofy skis. Like it's either like the skis that come up to like your like under your armpits, or like the skis that are just way too big, or like something like that. And there's always just like some weird goofy element to them. So like you'll see people have boots on the wrong feet. Like these things actually happen. So I don't even know. Like my feet would not do that. But yeah, and they're usually easy to spot because they have those like fluorescent onesies.
I did that
with the tag still on them.
Like as a kid, you put your shoes on the wrong feet, but I haven't put my shoes on the wrong feet in a long time.
I mean, ski boots too. They're like a vice grip. Like I don't. That takes some skill to get the boot on the wrong foot.
Now skiing in jeans, you definitely look down upon those people, right? I mean,
it's a whole
ultimate
thing.
No, right?
Do you know the Instagram account Jerry of the Day? Like it's constantly ripping on people that ski in jeans and just like other Jerry type things. That is that's like the slang for people in outdoor sports, possibly specifically to skiing, but yeah, like people in outdoor sports that kind of like do goofy things. So I'm not sure about that decision.
It's like the Karen of outdoor sports.
Yes, exactly. Yes.
Got it.
And you'll know it. Like, I don't even really have to explain it to you. You could see a picture and be like, oh, that's the Jerry.
Now, another trend that I've noticed, and this is really over the last like 10, maybe a little bit longer, because back in my day, you wouldn't see this, but now you see sports jerseys out there.
Yes,
at least over here.
That's a Jerry thing.
Okay, that's definitely like I'll go out and I'll see so many Steelers fans out there, and going up to New York, you're going to see a lot of Ohio State. You're going to see a lot of obviously the Buffalo Bills. You'll see some Patriots gear. You won't see much Browns because we haven't had too much in the last few years. I don't know if you've noticed.
I thought that was kind of like it's kind of cool. Like put your jersey on over your.
But everybody does it now, Nick. It was cool when it'd be like that one guy wearing the jersey, but now it seems like that is the go-to for a lot of people on the slopes. Is that a trend you see out west too?
Oh God, yeah. So
Yeah.
there's a ridiculous number of Chiefs fans here, so you will see a lot
Okay.
of Mahomes jerseys. But like even for Halloween, we're so lucky that we get to even have Halloween on the slopes here because the resort's open that early. For Halloween, my boyfriend and I dressed up as Jerry's, and so I was in these like just like puffy coat, like doesn't look like anything modern with like a fanny pack over it and just like all this like funky stuff. And he wore his Jarvis Landry jersey. So
That's
it is
Nice.
and the only
With
pair of
jeans?
jeans that he owns. Yes,
Yes.
and jeans.
Oh, that's fantastic.
I like froze myself. I had these like tie-dye shorts on and I was like, I gotta commit to the costume though.
Oh, that is great. See, I'm telling you, Nick, it's a whole thing, man. Everybody's
gotta
wearing
get out.
jerseys out there, and I just can't do it because it's like become cliche overnight for people
Yeah,
to
I
wear
wouldn't
jerseys.
I wouldn't do it. Like
Yeah.
no hate on people wearing jerseys anytime, but
Right.
on the ski slopes, it has a very specific connotation. Like I
There you
am
go.
just going to assume you're the one that's going to fall off the ski lift
You're that
if
guy.
you're wearing, yeah, pretty much.
You're going to go up and down the hill like twice, and then you're going to be in the bar just trying to hit on ladies and mag on ladies for the rest of the time, and they're probably
You're
going to
the
get
one.
kicked out of the bar.
You're the one that's like on the T-bar, like taking it on your stomach. Like, yeah, absolutely.
Oh, that's fantastic. Fantastic.
Samantha, good stuff. Good stuff. I know we're running late. We'll get you out of here, talk some NFL, talk some winter sports as well. Where could everybody go check out all of your great work over at the Action Network? Give you a follow as well.
Sure. Yeah. Thank you so much for having me. This has been a lot of fun. I really hope you guys get out to Breckenridge soon. I think it'll be very impressive compared to some of the Ohio mountains. But yeah, you can find me on Twitter at Samantha NFL, on Instagram at Sprevite, that's Sprevite. And all my written work is going to be on theactionnetwork.com. And right now I'm covering a lot of like injury news and things like that. And I'll also give you some prop bets heading into the Super Bowl. I haven't like really dug into the slate yet, but I certainly will start digging into the numbers soon.
Fantastic.
I can't wait for sure. Samantha, great stuff. We appreciate it a ton. We'll have to do this again soon.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks, Samantha.
Thanks. See ya. Samantha Profiti. Good stuff, Chris.
Yeah. I told
You
you.
got a
we
round of
did some
applause for
skiing.
us? Yeah, that
I
was
do.
good.
Wait a second. I do. Let me see. See, I should be quick with this. I keep forgetting we don't have Dave, so I have to do everything around here.
There it is. Round of applause. That was some good stuff, man.
I love when I can get in some skiing talk. I thought that
Yeah.
was great. And there were some
Yeah.
things that I need to explore with somebody who really knows what they're doing. And that jersey thing has just been driving me nuts. Of course, jeans, I've known about that for a long
Yeah,
time.
I've known jeans. I always thought jerseys was like a cool thing. Like if I were to
don't
ever
think so.
ski, which I would think
so.
like put on a jersey. That's cool.
Right. It'd be cool. But then everybody else thinks
I
it's
had
cool.
that
Now
same
everybody's
thought
doing
and it
it.
ruined it.
That's exactly right. It was cool, and it was the one or two guys who were doing it, and it's like, oh yeah, playoffs this weekend. Dude's wearing a Bills jersey. That's great. And now it's like everybody's wearing them. And I saw it's funny she mentioned Jarvis Landry. I saw a few Jarvis Landrys last time I was out. It's just no, Nick, you can't be doing that.
Can't do it. Cannot do it. Chris, I don't know if you saw the Cavaliers, big winners from the Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse, come from behind victory.
Scoring leaders, Brandon Goodwin, 21 points. Jared Allen, 16. Kevin Love, 15. Okoro, 14.
You'll take it. I'll
yeah,
take
with
it.
Garland out. I mean, you had no Garland out there. You had what's our front court? It was
Jetty.
It was Jetty, and then what's his face? No, it wasn't even a curl. He had
Chris, this makes for great radio.
It does when I can't think of people's names.
I'll let you figure it out.
Dean Wade.
Dean Wade. There it is. All right. Well, we're going to talk some more Cavs.
It was well worth it, wasn't it, folks?
It was. Dean Wade. That's a cherry on top of a Cavs victory is a Dean Wade start. Also, no Dylan Windler moments. That guy is a stiff. All right. Cavs, big winners, 93-90. We are going to talk some more Cavs, specifically Cavs trivia. It is time to give away some beer, hopefully give away all the bat case plus a GVR t-shirt. It's time for Who Wants to Be a Billionaire? Alrighty, the bright lights of the Big Play Reflog Show get a little bit brighter tonight, Chris, as Who Wants to Be a Billionaire? Cavs Victory Monday edition. We welcome to the Big Play Reflog Show Susan, who will be competing for a case of Labatt Blue Light and a GV shirt. Susan, welcome on into the Big Play Reflog Show. How are you?
Hey, I am doing good. Thanks for having me. I'm a lot better now that we finally got the W after losing last night to the Pistons so late and let that one slip away. So tonight was good.
Susan, give us our quick breakdown of the game tonight. We missed kind of the second half doing the show. What was your assessment of the Cavs?
The second half, we played D the whole game. The second half, we actually started making shots. The first half, we were putting up shots and it was nowhere near the rim. Kind of frustrating at first. But, the second half, we had some good moments from Goodwin. K-Love started making some shots, knocking down some outside shots. Okoro and his defense, Jarrett Allen. It was an all-over excellent win. But that second half, it was just, we turned it up an extra notch. Our defense really came together. The effort was just outstanding late in the game when you got to have it, games on the line, and guys just showed up when they needed to because we were down so many. So it was awesome.
Man, that's as good of a breakdown as you'll find. Susan, hell of a job there. And Susan also follows me on Twitter. So we're going to have some hints tonight on Who Wants to Be a Billionaire. I have a good feeling. If you're new to the show, each week one contestant will get their chance to answer Cleveland Cavaliers trivia for a chance to win. We start off with cash for a Labatt 6-pack. Then if you move on, a 12-pack. If you elect to move on from there, a 24-pack. For one final question, a lucky winner will take home a case of Labatt Blue Light plus a GV Art t-shirt. This week, we're welcoming in at Brownstown 76. Susan, are we ready to roll with Who Wants to Be a Billionaire?
Let's go. Let's do it.
All righty, let's do it. We'll kick it off with question number 1 for cash for a 6-pack of Labatt. Which 2019 first-round pick was traded after throwing a temper tantrum because the Cavs moved his locker?
Oh, Lord. KPJ, right?
Kevin Porter Jr. That is correct.
Right.
Cash for a 6-pack. Are we moving on for a 12-pack of Labatt?
Woo-woo.
We got our sound effects. Our sound effects are a little different than normal, so I'm kind of working the board over here for Nick. There you go. Well done on that one. Are you going on?
All right,
number 2.
Let's move on.
All right, Chris, give her question number 2.
She's moving on. Question number 2 for cash for a 24-pack of Labatt Blue. Jarrett Allen is averaging 11 rebounds per game this year, which is 4th most in a season in Cavs history. Which former Cavalier averaged the most rebounds per game in a season back in 2004 with 11.4? 11.4.
Big Z.
No. This guy was famous for swindling a blind man. Swindling a blind man.
Oh, no. That gave it away to me.
Swindling a blind man?
Swindling a blind man. That's correct.
Oh, wow.
With his contract.
The hint that Dollar Dog Nick put in here is he is a bald, backstabbing weasel from Alaska who played at Duke. That's a hell of a hint.
I know it is, and I'm blank. I'm drawing a blank. Oh no.
2003, 2004. There was a chant about him. Chris, do you remember the chant that people would yell?
No,
The
actually, I
old
don't.
Bond Arena. Blank is a loser.
Oh, well, it rhymes. It
rhymes.
And it was gunned, and they let
The
him out
old
of his
Bond Arena. This was like infant. This was like, I was probably, a little bit older than a toddler. I was probably, 6, 7, 8 years old with my dad going to these games chanting that this guy is a loser. It was some of my favorite memories.
I'm sorry, guys. I can't pull nothing. I'm drawing a blank.
So Gunn gave a deal with him that he'd be out of his contract and they were going to re-sign the contract. And that was the gentleman's agreement. And then he ended up bolting and leaving town.
Holy smokes. Nothing.
Chris.
I know.
His last name rhymes with loser.
Holy smokes. Holy smokes. Boozer.
There you go.
There it is.
There it is.
Boozer.
Carlos
Boozer.
Holy
Carlos
smokes. Thanks,
Boozer.
guys.
We got it.
That was easy.
So they would chant that at the stadium. They would chant "Boozer's a loser," like when
While he
we
was
would
on the
play.
team, or was that
Well,
when he come
when
in?
he was moving on, when he moved
Yeah.
on. So
Like with the Jazz and who else?
Yeah.
I still have not had the opportunity to attend a game yet, so I don't know.
yeah, this was
Hashtag let him know.
let
Gotta
him
get
know.
out there.
It was a while back. All right, are we moving
Yeah.
on to question number 3 for cash for a 12-pack of Labatt?
Well, let's go.
All right, we're
It's
moving
kind of
on.
a tough one. This is kind of a tough one.
All right,
Oh,
I
no.
will read it. The Cavs play the Rockets on Wednesday night. Houston's head coach's dad was the head coach for the Cavs during LeBron James's first 3 seasons. Who was LeBron's first Cavs coach? I wish we had Dave's epic music. The silence is kind of it's getting to me a little, Chris.
This is probably not what you want.
Is that from when we had the conspiracy theory show?
I think so. What else do I have? Do I have any other background music? No. Definitely not going to play that. Definitely no. No.
Interesting.
Nope.
This is horrible, guys. This is absolutely horrible.
Iguodala to Curry, back to Iguodala, up for the layup. Oh, blocked by James. LeBron James with the rejection.
I kind of like that one.
So I'll give you
background
we'll
music.
give you another hint, or you could phone a friend. But the hint kind of narrows it down. And it definitely gives the last name. So we will need a first name. The son of this coach is Steven Silas.
See, that still does nothing for me, fellas.
Ah,
I know. I am so sorry.
Steven Silas is the head coach of the Rockets right now. His dad was Chris, give it to him.
Yeah. Paul
Give it to me,
Silas.
Chris.
Paul Silas. Paul
Silas.
Yeah.
All right. Live and learn. There we go.
Live and learn.
You made
Good
it to
job.
question number 3. It was a valiant effort.
It
Valiant
was.
effort. Just like the Cavs tonight. But the Cavs said.
Yeah. I'll take the W for the Cavs over
That's
a W
right.
for myself.
That's right. Of the two.
Oh yeah.
Hey, after yesterday's game, it was nice to get that taste out of our mouths. Get moving
Big
on.
time.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I like the second half of the
absolutely.
schedule. I tell you, 'cause
Yep.
it's a lot easier for these Cavs. What are you looking? What's the top end for the Cavs going forward this season? Do you think playoffs? Do you think maybe a round that will win in the playoffs? What do you think?
I think so. Absolutely. The way we played tonight and we were contenders, I do believe that we can make it to the playoffs. I think we can actually go kind of deep in the playoffs. We're young. The legs are young. They're fresh. Last a little bit longer. And we just play with such hustle and tenacity, and our defense is so good. This has been this season has been so much fun to watch. Just defensively for us to be where we are doing what we're doing, it has been so exciting to watch. I honestly do think
I think that defense is really going to propel us. I think a lot more than what people think.
Let them know, Chris.
Let them know.
Absolutely.
Let them know.
Absolutely. Yes.
Susan, great stuff. We appreciate the Cavs insight, definitely. And we'll have to have you back on for Who Wants to Be a Billionaire once we get back into some Cleveland Browns trivia. It was a lot of fun. Good job.
All right. Thanks, guys, for having me.
Thanks, Susan.
Susan, good job. But Chris, our streak comes to an end.
First loss of the year.
Our streak comes to an end. All good things.
That just means we need to start another one, Nick.
Yeah, we'll start those back up next week. No doubt about it. In the meantime, it is time for some Cleveland headlines. Alrighty, Cleveland headlines brought to you by Total Sports Enterprises Cleveland. Every week we try to give away a Cleveland Browns autographed item. Make sure to follow at Big Play Reflog on Twitter. Subscribe to the Big Play Reflog show on YouTube for your chance to win some pretty cool Cleveland Browns merch every single week. Chris, where do we even want to start with these headlines, man?
Well, let's start with the Cavs.
I think we got to start with our Cleveland Cavaliers. Obviously, a big bounce back win tonight. On Sunday night, the Cavs dropped a tough one to the Pistons. They have the second worst record in the NBA, so it was nice to see the Cavs get back on track tonight. They bounced back with a big 93-90 win. No Darius Garland. But the big news is, Chris,
is he okay, by the
he
way?
He is okay.
It was a back thing. I figured out middle of the season, starting to give some guys some time off here before you get to the All-Star break in a few weeks. I figured it was one of those. Wasn't something to worry about. Is that right?
We just had that big 3-game break, right? So I thought like that'd be good for Darius. He was a little limpy. He kept holding the back. So I thought the 3 days off really would be good for him. But then obviously last night they lose. He again looked just gingerly running around out there. So they were able to get a huge win on the second night of a back-to-back where you were on the road, then had to come back to Cleveland. Those are never easy to do. And they were able to get a dub without Darius. So we hope he'll be all right. It's just back soreness is what they have it listed as now. And it's been something that I feel like has been bothering him for a little bit. So hopefully he could push through it. And big news is 10 days away, Chris, from the NBA trade deadline. Do you see this Cavs team making any big moves that you're after?
I don't know. And that's more of a result of me not knowing exactly what is out there. I haven't seen a whole lot of chatter. I know that, Bickerstaff seems to be real happy with the chemistry. Why wouldn't he be?
Right.
Happy with the chemistry of what he's got out there. It seems like everybody's meshing well. I keep going back to Kevin Love and just the fact that he went from just last year having no interest at all in being a veteran leader to really being a veteran leader on this team. And it's just the turnaround that's been incredible. And I think that's really a measuring stick that really shows you how far this chemistry has come with this team. So I see what he's saying there. You bring in a guy like Rondo, it's kind of interesting, and it doesn't seem to negatively affect the chemistry at all. In fact, he was kind of kicking the guys a little bit the other day and in a good way. So I don't know. I don't know that they're going to make any big moves. I think now with a young team, it's not exactly where you have to make a huge move for an all-star because the window is closing. We really think that the window is just on its way up. So it puts us in a strong position if we want to make a move. But I don't know that we're going to make anything that's going to shake up the sports world, in my opinion.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I know that there's been a lot of big names thrown out there, and I put big names in almost like air quotes, like guys like Karis LeVert. That's a name that's been discussed a little bit. Eric Gordon, guys that have had success in the league, but like nothing that is going to change the national narrative of this team, that it's a good, fun Cavs team. And that's really what it is. My biggest thing is this, though, whatever they elect to do at the trade deadline, and I know they might look for more scoring options, get Darius a little bit of help, whatever player that they get or don't get, whatever. My bottom line is you can't take the ball out of Darius Garland's hands at this point. Like what he's shown us these last few months now is that this offense, this team needs to run through number 10, being the number one legitimate orchestrator of the offense. I think it all starts with Darius Garland. So whatever you do, just try to find complementary pieces to support DG, in my opinion.
I'm with you. Yeah, tonight, well, we have 5 players in double digits: Goodwin, Jared Allen, Kevin Love, Okoro, and Lamar Stevens, all over 10 points today. So
you love to see it. JB Bickerstaff has said that he doesn't want to mess up the chemistry. I think that's a very good thing. Also, you had Jason Lloyd of The Athletic. How about this, Chris? Telling somebody within the Cavs organization used the Odell Beckham Jr. trade as an example to Lloyd in his reporting, and said that they don't want to mess up the team chemistry the same way that everyone was riding high and believing in Baker and believing in the Browns in 2018 and 2019. They got Odell, and the feeling just hasn't been the same ever since. Somebody within the Cavs organization used that example to Jason Lloyd. So kind of interesting. And I hope they don't throw off that chemistry, because it does feel like they have something really special brewing right now.
all right, are we going to talk about the football?
Let's talk about the football, man. I think we have to do it.
I think we have to. How about yesterday? I mean, Cincinnati wins. And then you think in the late game, well, hopefully Odell won't advance. And sure enough, Odell Beckham and the Rams advance. So kind of a nightmare scenario for a Cleveland fan. But I've been around long enough. I should almost expect these things to happen, Nick. And here we are.
How about this tweet from my buddy Brad Stainbrook? Last offseason, former Browns wide receiver OBJ, Von Miller were training together in Colorado. Miller brought up the idea of playing together. Odell responded with, "Don't come to Cleveland." You have this story leak Saturday night, then Sunday you see, or Friday night, then Sunday you see Odell go on to the Super Bowl. Has your feelings at all changed about Odell Beckham Jr.? Where are you at with this guy? Because to me, he's becoming one of those Cleveland sports figures that I really, really, really am starting not to be able to stand.
Yeah. And I'm right with you. Even when he left Cleveland, it was like, okay, it didn't work. It didn't work for whatever reason. Didn't work. It seemed like the players in the clubhouse still liked him, with the exception of, I guess, Baker.
That's
still
still a concern. Still a concern.
And absolutely it is. I didn't like the way it went down with his dad and all that stuff. But at the end of the day, it was clear it wasn't working on both sides. So it was like, goodbye. And now the stories come out about him anti-recruiting for Cleveland, or against Cleveland in this case, and really just being a guy we just talked about veteran leadership with Kevin Love, right? Not being that veteran at all, and working against everything that we're trying to do, really sabotaging the Cleveland Browns from the inside, it seems.
Yeah.
And that really took it from, okay, it didn't work out, to, no, you're a bad dude. You're a bad dude. And that should not have happened in an NFL locker room. And who knows, we may have a few more bad dudes in that locker room that created, a bad environment.
Yeah.
But certainly he was orchestrating a lot of that stuff.
Chris, it was unprecedented what he did this fall with his dad and orchestrating a big master
LeBron
exit with LeBron James,
bringing in characters from the outside.
If Donald Trump was still on Twitter, Trump would have tweeted about Odell Beckham Jr. that day. That's how insane Twitter was that day.
Yeah.
That's not a hot take at all. Everyone was talking about Cleveland, making fun of Cleveland, and everybody was just taking jabs at OBJ. So it blows my mind that Baker, who is supposed to be this Pied Piper quasi leader of men, was unable to control the locker room and unable to twist that in a way that kind of galvanized and rallied the troops. And then Kevin Stefanski, I know he was the coach of the year. I've given him a lot of grief on this show. How do you call yourself a leader of men when you have players on Twitter still congratulating the guy that all but derailed your season. And I know Baker and the quarterback was far from good in any of the games. Even the games Baker missed, the quarterback play was nothing more than subpar. But you got people in the locker room and people in this fan base actively cheering and supporting the guy. I quite frankly, Chris, I can't wrap my head around it. And I'm personally at a point as we sit here, Monday, January 31st. Am I going to pull for the Cincinnati Bengals in the Super Bowl? Like, what?
And the answer is no. I can't pull.
Me neither.
I can't pull myself to pull for the Cincinnati Bengals. And here's what it comes down to. Number one, they're divisional. Number two, they also didn't vote against the move. Mike Brown down there didn't vote against the Browns moving.
Facts,
and that's
Chris.
one of those things. Yeah, that's one of those things. I always feel a kinship with the Buffalo Bills. And, even though I hate the Steelers, and I never root for the Steelers, there's still a part of me that says, okay, they're like our brother, because they looked out for us in that situation. They voted against the move. The Cincinnati Bengals, however, and Mike Brown, whose dad, famously, the coach of the Cleveland Browns, thought he had an equity stake in the Browns, didn't, and ended up founding the Cincinnati Bengals. Did not vote against that move, and I still hold that against the Bengals. And on top of the fact that they're division foes. But here's what drives me nuts, is the fact that the Cincinnati Bengals are doing all the things that we thought we would be able to do this season. Not only that, and we talked about this on this show, this still drives me nuts right now, is that remember when we played Kansas City earlier in the season, how many Browns fans were claiming a moral victory after that? Because we played them pretty well, Hey, it's early in the season. We played them really good, and this is a good team. And we were just railing, saying, listen, moral victories have to turn into real victories. And then you came with all kinds of excuses. Hey, we're growing, we're young, but whatever. You look at what the Bengals have done. Young quarterback, no offensive line at all.
Remember that? Remember when we thought the offensive line was like the biggest thing? Like we had an offensive line. We're going to the Super Bowl. They have nothing.
A running game that's good, not as good as ours. Even with Joe Mixon, they're good, but they're not as good as ours. A head coach who's out to lunch. Everybody wanted to fire him at the beginning of the season. They had every card stacked against them. Ownership that's out to lunch. Just a total mess, a total cheap organization. And what did they do? They made it to the Super Bowl. Whereas we use all of those things as excuses here in Cleveland for why we couldn't make it to that next level. And I'm just sick of it. I'm just sick of it. And it stinks to look outside your window and see your neighbor with the new car right now, because that's what we've got in Cleveland. They just got the new car. They're pulling into their driveway, and we're sitting here going, we were all set. We had the financing set. We were all ready to go with that new vehicle. And look at us. We still got the same old beater in our garage right now.
Yep. Our loan didn't go through. Our loan didn't go through.
Chris. That's a tough pill to swallow. And, I'll give them props. They did it. And that's tough. That's tough when they faced the same things we did, and it was even worse for them, and they overcame it, and we just couldn't.
I think we need to have, in a similar vein of the 0-16 parade, and I know that brings back a lot of memories.
We're not doing another parade.
We're not doing another parade, but what we need to do is we need to have a prayer vigil, and we need to bring all the priests from every denomination, the Catholic priests, any type of priest or pastor or preacher that you could think of. We bring them down to Lou Groza Boulevard we'll do it on a much warmer day than the 0-16 parade out there in late summer, early fall. And we'll all lock arms as Browns fans, circle the whole damn thing. And we're just going to exorcise the demons. We are going to lift the curse of Art Modell, and we are going to make right on all of this. I don't care if Baker's the quarterback. I don't care if Kirk Cousins the quarterback. All I know is Father Heron from St. Monica's in Garfield Heights needs to bring all of his buddies down over to First Energy Stadium, because I don't know where this team goes from here. And I pondered it all weekend. You see some of these names that these Twitter guys want to throw out, and Kirk Cousins is an upgrade and Jimmy Garoppolo is an upgrade. And you just get one of those guys and you're right there. I'm just not buying that. I don't know about you. I'm just not like drinking that Kool-Aid of you trade for Jimmy Garoppolo and all your problems magically subside.
No, and I agree with you. And I'll tell you, along that same thinking about the prayer vigil, and I got to thinking about this last night. Johnny Manziel, I don't know if anybody saw this, but Johnny Manziel started going at it again with Cleveland, saying how much he hates the town, not the people, but the town just sucks. And, Johnny just basically being Johnny. And have you ever seen Scott Pilgrim versus the World? You ever seen that movie?
No, I never have.
Okay. And basically the premise is this guy wants to get with this girl, but in order to do that, he has to defeat all of her ex-lovers. Okay. Gotcha. And it's almost like somehow we have to metaphorically defeat all of these ghosts of all of these old quarterbacks before we could ever advance, because they seem to keep coming out of the woodwork.
Should we make a list?
Just crap on us, whether they're, they were crapping on Mary Kay Cabot before and that whole story. And now you got Johnny coming out once again against the whole city of Cleveland and taking on all comers. And it's almost like, man, we need to somehow put all of these guys down before we can ever advance. We're just so stuck with our history here and just all of the negativity that we need something to change that's going to move us forward in a positive way. We thought Baker was that guy, right?
Yeah.
We talked so many times about a culture change and how this was a new Cleveland Browns, and forget the old Browns. It's not your same old Browns. And then we go out and have a stinker season like this. We have to have something, whether it's a prayer vigil or whether we're doing Scott Pilgrim against the world with our ex-quarterbacks. We need something, Nick, in Cleveland in order to get us past and over the hump so that we can be the Bengals of next year.
Maybe at this vigil, man, we just stand out there and you got the incense thing at church that swings back and forth. Right. It smells kind of goofy. You do that by all the gates, and all the gates have a different lore nemesis from Cleveland Browns past. One is like the Art Modell gate. That's where majority of the people gather. There's a Johnny Manziel gate. There's a
Johnny himself there.
He's the presider. He'll carry the cross down.
Somebody's dealing, and we don't care what he does in the bathroom.
He'll carry the cross down Dog Pound Drive for all I care. We gotta, boy, it's back to feeling like we're so far away, and I really don't think that we are.
But the point is, this is the NFL. It's set for every team to go. What was 8-8? Now it's 9-8 or
56 Super Bowls, Chris.
I know. That's the way it's set up, and it's as far as we think we're far away because of everything that happened. But look at what the Bengals did, and now I hope we're learning from that. That hey, listen, all these little complaints we have, and all these things that we say, well, we can't get to that next level because of this. Well, the Bengals just overcame it, and the Bengals they don't even have an indoor practice facility. They don't have anything.
They don't practice when it rains in Cincinnati.
They got all the cards stacked against them, and they said, we don't care. You got a guy like Joe Burrow, culture changer. No problem. He's able to lead them to the promised land. We got to get that kind of mentality here. We don't care about what the media says about us. We don't care about our social media accounts. We don't care about all of these other things in the universe that are conspiring against the Cleveland Browns. We're at the point where we just want to go out and win ball games and forget about all that other crap. And that's what they did down in Cincinnati. We got to take a lesson from that. We got to be the Cincinnati of next year.
Man, maybe we're just in our Andy Dalton stage right now, and our Joe Burrow is behind whatever.
So we need to get rid of him. And we need to get rid of our coach, maybe too, Marvin Lewis.
I'll say this. When I sat down in 2019 and I watched Freddie Kitchens versus Zach Taylor, I said, this might be one of the worst coaching matchups in NFL history. Now Freddie Kitchens is probably going to be an analyst on CBS, and Zach Taylor's coaching a damn Super Bowl. So it just shows how much I know, man. It's tough.
All of us, Nick. All of us don't know nearly what we think we do. We're going to get to the best and worst tweets. And
let's do best and worst and get the hell out of here. Play the intro. All right, best tweet of the week, Chris. We're throwing it way back to a medium of communication before Twitter, before the internet. The best tweet of the week is actually a best newspaper of the week.
A first for this show, guaranteed, and maybe the last.
We
Probably.
scanned it in. We scanned it in.
Read that headline, Nick, because it's fantastic.
Longtime Steelers QB winless versus Browns in playoffs retires.
It's fantastic.
That's a
Cleveland playing
beautiful,
Taylor.
beautiful headline.
And Dan Labe, he's the one who wrote the article, and he was quick to point out he does not select what the headline is going to be. That's the sports editor, who in this case is Skip Hall. Fantastic Skip Hall put that out there as an ultimate troll, and well done. Way to bring some closure that also gives him the appropriate amount of trolling from Cleveland for one Ben Roethlisberger.
Dan Lobby, Skip Hall, deserving best tweet of the week. Chris, I think the word.
Number two also needs to be up there. And that's AC, Austin Carr, man. He is fantastic on Twitter. He's basically, you have Bernie Kosar kind of on the football Browns side.
Go Browns, you matter.
That's right. Go Browns, you matter. You got Austin Carr on the basketball side. So Austin Carr yesterday put out a tweet to the world. Cavs must get back to defense first to get their mojo back. That tweet went out there. A good thought. Today,
real time, getting it up.
He pulled it up and he agreed with himself unwittingly and said, I agree. Go Cavs, and retweeted that to the world. So Austin Carr agreeing with himself. That's a little Michael Scott with the grease board there. And in this case, he didn't have a Wayne Gretzky. He's just quoting himself. But fantastic stuff. We love you, Austin Carr. Got to get you on the show. This is just a gem of Twitter. Fantastic.
He quote tweeted himself.
I just love it. I just love it. So well done.
I agree. Go Cavs. AC, good job out of you. Worst tweet of the week. You knew it was coming. Everybody that listens to this show knew it was coming. Everyone was asking for this to be the worst tweet of the week. So here it is. Congratulations, Johnny Manziel, Johnny Football. It's crazy that I'm doing this because I was such a big Johnny fan. I know a lot of people were. You kind of either loved him or you hate him, but I can't believe that we're sitting here in the year 2022 and Johnny Manziel is still tweeting about Cleveland. There it is. He tweeted out there, Cleveland sucks. That's not negative. That's factual. Not the people, the place itself. Went on, Chris, to change his Twitter bio to good vibes only. But Cleveland sucks. So Johnny's just having his fun. He's like taking his little card at the sandwich line is what Johnny's doing. He's waiting for his name to be called at the damn deli because him and everybody else just lining up to take jabs at my favorite team in my city. And Johnny, thanks for your input and thanks for easy content, I guess. Yeah, pretty much.
And he was a punching bag after that, which was kind of fun yesterday.
Yeah, you had some fun with that, Chris.
I had some fun. I took some kill shots, and he just kind of took them. And rolled with them. I think he's pretty used to the kill shots these days. He's like a zombie out there. You can't kill him. He'll be back one after another. I kind of expected him to wake up today and delete his account because that's normally kind of his MO. But
right, yeah, like the hangover. Yeah, the hangover. Like
it's like, oh, what did I do? I'll just get rid of this whole thing. And didn't happen. He's staying out there. So
change the bio back though. The bio's back to normal.
Oh, is it? Okay.
It is.
Well, just wait for the Super Bowl. Whenever he wants to get action, he knows he can come after Cleveland, and I'm sure he'll do the same thing again, especially if Odell gets going. So
for sure, it's a tried and true gimmick is just say something negative about Cleveland, and the onslaught will ensue.
But we have plenty of time to talk about that next week when we break down the Super Bowl, and we'll give our predictions, right, Nick?
Yes, we will give our official Super Bowl predictions. That is all for tonight. Can't wait to give Super Bowl predictions. Hopefully go over some Super Bowl props. Dave's itching to put together a really bad parlay that'll never hit. Just kidding, Dave. Love you.
How long the anthem is.
Under a minute and a half, and then over the Super Bowl halftime show length, and then orange Gatorade on the winning coach. You know Dave's gonna concoct something crazy.
I think orange Gatorade's a pretty good bet because it's going to be orange on the Bengals side, right off the bat. And I don't know would they go blue on the Rams side, or would they also just take an orange? I mean, I guess they've got yellow.
Yeah.
I'd go orange probably because you're not sure. You know the Bengals are going orange. You don't know what the Rams are necessarily going to do.
Or you just hedge and do all three. $10 on all three. All the odds are a long shot. You know what I mean? It's all 40.
And then they pour water on them and just
purple. Like an orange team and a blue team, and they pour purple as they mix the colors.
Some of that alcoholic Baja Blast Mountain Dew coming out of those things. Did you hear about that?
Saw that, yeah.
Yeah, good stuff. Gonna have that at your Super Bowl party, Nick?
No, I'm not.
Oh, you're no fun. All right, let's get out.
Is that even out? I didn't know that it was like seriously out.
They're talking about it. I don't know.
They always talk about everything, Chris.
I don't know how things work.
All right, we're out of here. Thank you guys so much for listening to the Big Play Reflog Show. It was a lot of fun. Hope you guys were able to tolerate me in the driver's seat next week. Big Play Dave is back. Huge thanks to Shaq News. Go check them out, shacknews.com. Download the Shaq Pets app. Vote on cute pets. It's like Tinder for pets. Who doesn't love that? I downloaded it. It's a whole lot of fun. Go get a GV shirt. Drink some Labatt. Check a giveaway for tsecleveland.com. You guys know the drill. We'll be back next week. Thanks so much, and we will see you then.
It's time! Streaming live from Cleveland, Ohio! Presenting the undefeated, undisputed heavyweight podcast of the world, the Big Play Reflog Show!